Welcome to Take a Deep Breath. Today's breathing exercise is cupping of your mouth and nose with your hands and breathing through your nose to create a light air hunger. Now, this is a Buteyko breathing exercise, and if you want to know more about Buteyko, I've linked in the description below the website for the Buteyko Clinic, where you can find scientific studies, papers, and a lot of information about the Buteyko method and what it involves. Now, this exercise is incredibly simple, and once you know it, you can really practice it anywhere, and it's free and it's wonderful. If you're pregnant, you shouldn't be doing these sort of exercises, and for everybody else, please make sure you read the description and safety information below and consult with a doctor or GP if you've got any concerns or before you take on any new methods. Now, with all that being said, let's just ask ourselves the question, why would we want to do this exercise? Because it's always a great question, isn't it? Before we get stuck in, think, well, what is this exercise for? Let's just talk about that very, very briefly. So we tend to, en masse, breathe through our mouths too much these days, where we should be breathing through the nose, and there's lots of other videos I can link to about the benefits of nasal breathing. But what this exercise is going to do is pool CO2, which basically means that we'll get slightly more CO2 when we breathe back in, and it'll increase our tolerance. We're going to feel what we call an air hunger, and that's okay. And go at your own pace with this, and I'll take you through that in the actual exercise itself. But go at your own pace. By creating this air hunger, we start to build a tolerance to CO2. And that sounds a bit scary at first, but actually we should have a higher tolerance to CO2. If you ask somebody to take a breath, normal breath in, normal breath out, and pause, some people can only hold their breath for a few seconds because they've got such a poor tolerance to CO2, and that can be linked to many things. But in short, by having a higher tolerance to CO2 and having more CO2 in our system, well, that actually allows more oxygen to get to the places it needs to get to. So actually we get more oxygen in our tissue and more oxygen in our organs. So there's a lot of benefits to having a higher tolerance to CO2, and often you'll find people that are mouth breathing because they just can't stand the air hunger by breathing through their nose all the time. So this is a great exercise to get us into that mode. Okay, now there's plenty more information about CO2, air hunger and tolerances, and do your own research, but let's crack on with the exercise now. Go at your own pace and just do what feels right for you. Okay. So I'll be doing the exercise with you, so I'll pop the headphones in. I've already pre-recorded the guide, so let's do the exercise together. Welcome to the hand cupping exercise from the Buteyko method. So first of all, let's think about our posture. So I'd like you to sit up straight so as not to compress the diaphragm. Imagine there is a piece of string pulling you upwards from the top of the back of your head towards the ceiling. Lengthen the distance between your navel and your sternum and widen the distance between your ribs. I would like you now to cup your hands against your face. Have hardly any gaps between your fingers. This serves two purposes. Firstly, the hands provide good feedback of your breathing volume. So the amount of breath you're taking in, you'll be able to feel that. Use the hands as a barometer of breathing. The greater the amount of warm air you feel coming into your hands, the harder you're breathing. Feel the warm air as it enters into your hands. Now, cupping the hands pools carbon dioxide. So what does that mean? It means that normally when we breathe in and breathe out, we breathe away that carbon dioxide, but some of it's now going to stay within our hands. But don't worry, it's not a dangerous amount. Now, going back to cupping, as you breathe in now, a higher pressure of carbon dioxide is brought back into your lungs. And this is going to help create what we call an air hunger, or a need to take a deeper or bigger breath. So I want you to just go ahead now and just breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the nose. The goal is to create a feeling that you would like to take in more air, to feel air hunger. To create air hunger breathing now should be less than when we started this exercise. So if you haven't done so already and you feel that you can, let's start to slow down the breath a little bit, in through the nose and out through the nose. Now for some people, they're going to feel an air hunger really quickly. And that's okay. We're all on our own path. We're all on our own breathwork journey. And if you need to take a break, then take a break. Take 15, 30 seconds. Take your hands away from your mouth. That's okay. Now for some of you, that air hunger might take a while to be felt. And that too is okay. So continue breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Remember, you can pause this exercise. You can go back to it at any point. You can rewind it. There's no pressure here. The other good thing about an exercise like this is it's completely free. And now that you know the basics, you don't need to watch the video if you don't want to. You can do this in the office, at home, in the morning, before you wake up properly and you're out of bed, before you go to sleep at night. Now going back to some directions of the exercise, the goal again is to feel air hunger. Not to pant. The goal is to reduce the volume or the size of each breath that enters the body. Now if your breathing muscles start to contract or they start to feel tense, then the air hunger is probably too strong. And when this also happens, take a break. Take 15 seconds, breathe normally through your nose, and then start again. It's normal at the beginning of exercises like this that it's going to feel harder. And so you have to be gentle on yourself. It's like going to the gym, it's one of those things where you've got to be patient and say, hey, I'm trying something new here and I'm not going to be 100% at it, and that's okay. With practice, it becomes easier to sustain air hunger for longer periods of time. So soften your breath to the point of air hunger. Now just as I'm talking, continue breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Now, I'm going to take things up a step for those that want to go a little deeper with this exercise. What I'm going to do here, for those that do want to go a little deeper and want a stronger air hunger, continue with your hands over your mouth and nose and continue breathing through your nose. But I would like you to take short breath in through your nose with your hands cupping your face. Only breathe 1 centimetre or half an inch of air into your nose. Then breathe out 1 centimetre through the nose. So it's just enough air to fill your nostrils and no more. Take a tiny breath into your nose and allow a tiny breath out of your nose. It will almost be as if you are hardly breathing at all. Take a flicker of air into your nostrils and no more. As the breath is tiny, the breath out should also be tiny. Now again, that's a very strong exercise point there. So again, not for everybody, but just to demonstrate and show people, if the first part of the exercise was okay and you want to go deeper, then you can do that flicker of air. And for some people, I said, a centimetre, half an inch, you could do 2 centimetres. I think it's just about reducing the amount of air that comes in and out to help create that air hunger. And that's it. That's the end of the exercise. Okay. So, I definitely feel a bit more relaxed. I hope you guys do too. There's a balance that we get there. And we really, the fine line, as Patrick McKeown has said, is to find that balance between parasympathetic and sympathetic, or rest and digest and fight and flight. And we want to just be on that balance. So now that you know this exercise, you can go back and play it again. You can practice it anywhere. As I said, just go at your own pace. There's no pressure here. This is just you finding some daily ritual of practice. I like this one. And, as of recording this today, there's a lot of people outside wearing masks, and they're struggling with their CO2 tolerance. So underneath those masks, there's people breathing through the mouth. So wouldn't it be wonderful if we can start to build our CO2 tolerance so we don't need to go to the mouth and we can actually use the nose more. And remember, the mouth is for eating and talking and the nose is for breathing. So thanks again for watching. My name's Mike Maher. We're on Take a Deep Breath. If you go into our back catalogue, we've got over 150 videos now dedicated to breath work. So I'm sure there's something for everybody there. So if you like this and you want to learn more about breath work, go and have a look. We've also got Breathcast, and Breathcast is my dedicated breathwork podcast where I get to interview the world's top experts about breathing and breath work. So be sure to go and check some of those out. We've got clips and we've got full 1-hour podcasts as well. Leave your comments below. How did you find that exercise? How did you feel afterwards? Did you struggle with the breath holds? Was it really easy for you? Have you practiced this or something like this before? Let us know in the comments below. I respond to every comment. And fantastic. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next breathing exercise. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.